Hello and welcome to your go-to Detroit Pistons podcast, the Pistons Pulse, co-hosted by me, Bryce Simon of Motor City Hoops, a former D1 Hooper and current teacher, husband, and father of 3 amazing kids. And Omari Sankofa II is still on a much-deserved vacation, masquerading around as off-season O. Luckily, Wes joined us back this week, fresh off a triathlon today. I don't know what he's doing, but way more than what I'm doing. Michael asked if I'm harvesting. I am not harvesting. We don't have any fall crops this year. But today I am joined by 2 of my favorite people, not just in the podcast world, but truly, like, these 2 guys really exemplified to me what I love about this space. Like, they're 2 people that I truly call friends. I've known Schlecht for a little over a year now. Alex and I met for the first time at Summer League this year. I got to meet Andrew's family. Just really, really good people. And I've really enjoyed getting to know them, even outside of just like podcasting, talking basketball. So kind of buried it there. But Andrew Schlecht, Alex Spears from The Athletic, Saturday Slam and Jam. You should be listening to it every Saturday. They have a Thunder podcast. I'll let Schlecht go through the whole spiel, but welcome, guys. How you doing today?
Hey, Bryce.
Doing great. So great.
Thanks for having us. I've never been on Pistons Pulse before.
This is my second time on Pistons Pulse. I love Pistons Pulse.
Yeah,
what a treat.
It's good. It's good. We have a treat for you guys at the end of the episode, because as much as I appreciate when these 2 ask me to come on their podcast, they make me look like an idiot whenever we play trivia at the end. And today I get to give some payback. So we'll have some fun trivia at the end. I literally wrote these questions, guys, like a month ago. As soon as Schlecht locked it in, I've had him for a minute. So I'm excited about that. Okay, let's get into it today. It is, guys, it's August. O2's on vacation. We can't do season predictions because Detroit may still be adding a player that will completely disrupt those. So that's who we'll start off today. We are going to look at the Western Conference preview. We did an Eastern Conference preview, had some commenters say like, hey, I would listen to a Western Conference. We'll always put a Detroit spin on it, and then we will do a Thunder Pistons trivia session at the end. I do want to start with this. Malik Beasley, I don't want to get into all of the reporting, but it sounds like he's not going to face any legal action based on that. Your guys' thoughts on that situation? I guess I'll start with you, Andrew. And also, I saw Thunder people immediately, even though they have no roster spots available, bringing his name up. So thoughts on Malik Beasley's situation in general? Maybe give us the Thunder perspective before I give the Pistons perspective.
Well, I mean, there was part of me that wondered if we'd ever see Malik play in the league ever again. And so it's good that, you know, I don't know anything about behind the scenes or what happened with him. It did not look good. It did not seem good. There were a lot of people on social media that had me convinced this dude is done. This guy is done forever, including Pablo Torre. But I think it's good for him. It's going to be good for whoever lands him too. Like if he lands back in Detroit, that's huge for them. I know the Knicks apparently are interested. If the Knicks are able to land him, you know, this late in the offseason for what would be a vet minimum, I mean, that's a huge deal. And Cleveland is also a team that's interested. Whoever gets him is getting one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, a guy that was second in Sixth Man of the Year last year, as you guys all know. But I just think it's going to be great for him to get back in the market, take a 1-year deal, and then try to get another big payday if he has another year like he did last year. But yeah, whoever lands this guy is going to get a really good rotation player.
Okay, so Andrew brought it up. Alex, what are your thoughts on what Malik Beasley should be looking for? Like, if you're Malik Beasley, and I don't want to get into it, but like there was some other like personal financial things that came out in that story that may be affecting his decision here, and I don't want to get into that necessarily. But do you think he should just take a 1-year deal and then get back on the market? Is there, an argument for him taking a longer term deal? I think Detroit is the team, I know it's 7.2 with them and they could offer multi-years. What would you be looking to do if you're Malik Beasley?
I almost feel like I would be very encouraged to do a prove it deal, because I mean, this is like awful timing for him. Clearly, if he really had nothing to do with this, and the fact that this investigation hits right when he's up for what is likely going to be the biggest contract deal of his career, coming off of a career year. I mean, that's just a killer. So I feel like if he can find a spot, whether that's Detroit or somewhere else, where he feels like he can recreate last season, then that would be my priority. Because if you can recreate last season, then maybe he can be in a position where how old is he? He's like 28 right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll be 29 in November. Maybe he could put himself in a position where he could get one more shot at like a decent sized deal. Because I don't know. Do you really think he would come back just like he would take that 7.4 and over multiple seasons just to lock it in?
So that's what I've wondered. That's my biggest thing is like, is there an argument to going ahead and locking in 2 years, right? Like but I don't. To me, if I'm him, I probably take. Listen, if I'm Detroit, I'm offering him the 7.2. And Wes actually had a really good tweet. Like, there's a personal side to Detroit adding Malik Beasley to this roster. I can make the arguments for a 10-man rotation and but at the end of the day, they did quote unquote replace him whenever all of this went down, right? Like they went out and found the guys to replace him. If I'm Trajan Langdon, I'm offering the deal and figuring it out later though, right? Yeah. And because one injury to Duncan Robinson and all of a sudden we're screaming about floor spacing again. So I would offer the deal. I would bring him in. I would figure it out. And then if and when the time comes, I'll trade one of these guys if necessary or whatever. So I just wonder if Malik can do better than Detroit's situation where the usage isn't going to be as good as what it was last year, I don't think. Like, I think that's what's going to be hard for him because you're not just going to leave Duncan Robinson on the bench. And Jaden Ivey is going to be back. Is there bigger roles for Asar and Ron Holland and those guys? So my quick Pistons perspective is they should absolutely give him the 7.2. They're not up against the tax or the first apron, any of that stuff. Give him the max you can. 1 year deal is what I would assume Malik will want. And then you figure it out. That's a 10-man rotation to start the year. And then you go from there. Andrew, back to you. You can give your Thunder thought on this, or you brought up the Knicks, the Cavs, some of these other teams. Is the argument go to the Cavs on a min? As Al's bringing up, is that the best way to recoup the money as much as possible next season, being on the Cleveland Cavaliers and being, a guy off the bench for them? So give me the Thunder perspective first, Andrew, and then maybe any other team.
The Thunder perspective is quite easy. There's just like no chance that any sort of sign and trade would happen with Malik Beasley. That's just not. The Thunder have their guys set. They have Isaiah Joe, who feels like that same role. That's a guy they feel really comfortable with. There's just no chance that they would consider Malik Beasley at this time. If I'm him, I'm going to the Knicks.
Okay.
You're getting the most shine there. I think they have a chance to be a team that goes to the NBA Finals. That's where I would go if I'm him. He's already proven the kind of player that he is. And so if he can go and prove that not only can I have this massive role in Detroit, but I can also scale down if needed. Like, I'm willing to play whatever role needed. It's not like if he doesn't get as many shots this year, it's just going to erase what he did last year. I think you can actually add to your credibility by taking on a smaller role in the NBA. And so if I'm him, I would take a minimum deal with the Knicks. There's minutes available. They're going to be playing guys like Jordan Clarkson. They're going to need minutes. Like, they need somebody else to develop. They need like Tyler Kolek to be good. They need like Bacome Daddy to show like a pulse. Like, they need somebody else. And so if they could just slide Malik Beasley in, I think that is a huge win for New York. And for Malik, I do think that people would see how he fits, and I think he'd fit quite well with them.
It's interesting, right? Because obviously Detroit could offer $5 million more than what the min is, or $4 million, whatever that number is. But yep. I think you look at the two rosters and you could make the argument that in New York he may get more shots, depending on where he fits into the hierarchy. Like, that's the part we don't know for sure, right, guys? Mm-hmm. Is maybe if Malik Beasley comes back, he does immediately slot into his role of last year, and it's Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson that have to take the back seat, being the new guys. So like I think that's interesting perspective that we may not have an answer on. Wes brings up a good point. The Nets have the most money out there with $15 million in cap space. Sure. So like, talk about payday. Listen.
Yeah, and if he wants to artificially inflate his stats, look at that roster. Because it is Cam Thomas, Michael Porter Jr., and then who? Who is their third scorer? Based on who was on that team last year, it was Keon Johnson, who averaged like 10.9 points. That is like who is left. So if that's what he's most interested in, I mean, he could easily replicate his Detroit season in Brooklyn and not really have to worry about it.
So Grape Ape says Nets don't really have any reason to add him. My slight pushback would be, as we learned in Detroit for 4 years, having elite floor spacing around young players allows you to figure out what they are.
Especially their rookies.
Yes. Now, Nets want to tank. They aren't like, I agree with that. I don't think he's going to Brooklyn. Wes and I felt like it at least needed to be brought up. If he just wants the money, they are the team that can offer the most money, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think Brooklyn's going to offer him $15 million, though. So, like, I just wanted to throw out there, Al, do you have a different team, or why do you think that they should sign and trade him for AJ Mitchell, even though Andrew doesn't?
I also don't want to do that either.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Listen, I was looking at his basketball reference. He's been on. If he went to a different team, that would be his 6th team since 2022.
Oh wow.
Is there any part of this where, from his perspective, it would just be because it felt like he had established himself in Detroit?
100%.
And going into that offseason, he was about to get that contract. He was going to be a part of this core going forward for the short term. Is there any part of him that just wants to continue that instead of having to jump to another team, learning a whole new system? At least he knows it works, or it did work in Detroit. And this is a really stupid reason, but one I care about. If he did replicate his season from last year, he would already be 4th in Pistons franchise history in three-pointers made. And if he did it 2 more seasons, he could be number 1 franchise leader in three-pointers made, which is crazy to me.
You think his agent's on the phone with him right now? Like, listen, what you don't know is that you could be on the all-time Pistons three-point list.
I mean, has anyone ever gone from unranked to number 1 for a stat in 3 seasons?
In 3 seasons. I mean, to your point, though, Cade does make his life fairly easy, right? And he has, and I'm not saying he can't go to another team and get the same type of looks, but the familiarity with the offense, the coaches, as Grape Ape says. Here's where I want to end this, and then we'll get into the Western Conference, because we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about Malik Beasley if he signs back with Detroit or if he doesn't. I think a worry, guys, is if he comes back to Detroit, it's too many mouths to feed, right? You brought in Duncan Robinson. You brought in Karis LeVert. Jaden Ivey's coming back. You want to see offensive growth from Asar Thompson and Ron Holland. Andrew, can you explain, and maybe not, but like Oklahoma City is the deepest team in the NBA and still gets those guys to come back and re-sign as opposed to going somewhere else. What is the secret? And listen, it's not 1-to-1, right? OKC has all 3 of their established stars. They've won at the highest level, all of that. But is there something that you can pinpoint that says, this is how that organization, this is how Dagnall gets it done, keeping all of these guys happy and within the organization, not wanting to go somewhere else for more money or more playing time maybe?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is that Mark does play everybody throughout the season. Everybody's going to get a shot, no matter what. And you have to. All the guys always say, I always have to stay ready. Doesn't matter 1 through 15, they're going to play. And then they just have really open dialogue with their players, and they've created a culture that these guys want to be in. And part of that too is they seek out certain personalities. You look across the roster, a lot of the guys that are role players are guys that came from not much. You know, there's a lot of undrafted, there's a lot of second round guys, there's a lot of guys that kind of had to scrap and claw and try to get to where they wanted to go just through like crazy work ethic. And part of that is the personality that they're seeking. And then some of it is that like Presti tries to be really collaborative with these guys. I actually asked him about that in his press conference after the season was over, and he just talked about how like he and Kenrich would sit down together and they would talk about the future of the team and talk about what he wanted and what they wanted and just see like, is there a match? Does this work for us? And then they would figure out a number. And so it's very collaborative. It's obviously a business, but the culture that they've established is pretty unique, I think, across the NBA. Now, we'll see that evolve. It's going to change.
Yeah.
Like, everything seems perfect with the Thunder right now. But there's going to be guys that need to make a lot more money. And there's not going to be enough minutes. There's not going to be enough shots. There's not going to be enough roster spots. All of that is going to happen at some point. It just happens to this point. Everything looks amazing. And everything has been really good with them. And I think that there will be more deals like that to come. And I think there will be guys that will have to go. Josh Giddey was one that had to go. You know, they sat down with him. They tried to be really collaborative with him. Hey, Josh, I want you to come off the bench. He didn't like that idea, so they traded him. You know, something like that will happen again. I don't know if they'll get somebody as great as Alex Caruso was, but you know, something like that will happen again.
You guys are going to be real happy with where we have Caruso on our top defenders in the NBA over on Game Theory podcast. Spoiler alert. You may be mad about some of the other rankings. YouTube user says, the rumors are that the Pistons maintained a good relationship with Beasley while the process played out. I think that is a factor. I also think that's a factor if true. And I think points to, Andrew, you and I have talked about this off podcasting situations, just the culture that Oklahoma City has built with their players and all of that. Al, anything else to add to maybe something you've seen minutes-wise, rotations-wise, culture-wise, that maybe Andrew didn't touch on?
No, I think he covered it pretty well. I mean, it is a very fun team to follow because you know that you're going to get to watch the guys who are like 15 through 17 or 18 on the team. And so it does like create this connection to the fan base, maybe more than other teams, just because you're consistently seeing the two-way guys play night after night after night. And so we as Thunder fans, like every other team, probably overrate a lot of our players. But we maybe do it even further down the roster just because we've seen all of these guys actually get regular NBA minutes. So it skews it a little bit. Like, I don't know, especially coming off of these playoffs, like the Isaiah Joe deal, like I do think it's like a great deal. But like, did I convince myself that was maybe a little bit better than it is in reality? You know, we Thunder fans talk about it like, oh, this is like such an amazing deal, and it is. But I don't know that it's like so amazing after you see that he like can't really play in the playoffs as of right now.
We do not accept Isaiah Joe slander on the Pistons Pulse. Ow. That is, no. Okay. No, you're right. Like I love Isaiah Joe, but obviously we got into the playoffs and it was a little tough for him at times. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to get into our Western Conference preview and rankings. And eventually we'll talk about where Detroit would land in the West. As we go to break, guys, go back and watch the last episode. It was something completely different. But if you were a fan of basketball, like Coach Jones talked about defending Michael Jordan. He got a phone call from Roy Williams during the interview. He talked about the era of NIL, the era of specialization, and he told you whether I was a good, neutral, or bad defender whenever I played for him at American. So you get all of the insights into all of that in the previous episode. And we're on a vacation over on Game Theory. When I say we, I mean Sam. So we have pre-recorded the top 25 defenders in the NBA. That actually may be running live right now. I don't know, which would be kind of funny. But those will be coming out along with the 2020 redraft. So make sure you're checking out Game Theory as well. You'll hear a couple Pistons names on those episodes. And like 17 Thunder players, I think, were mentioned in on the defensive rankings. So we'll get into Western Conference right after this. All right, we are back with Saturday Slam and Jam. Andrew Slecht, Alex Spears. We're going to get into the Western Conference real quick. I didn't ask you guys to do this, so I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Where would you guys have Detroit in the East? Like, just, you can give me a range even.
I would have them probably fourth.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's a small range.
So Cavs, Knicks, 1-2 for both of you. Mm-hmm. Yes? in some
Yes.
order.
I might have Magic.
Okay, Cavs, Knicks, Magic.
Cavs, Knicks,
those
Magic,
are my
Pistons.
3, where I feel
Pistons,
like pretty
okay.
confident. And then it becomes like whether you like Hawks, Pistons. I really think their range, like let's add the possibility that one of those top 3 teams could have like a significant injury. So I would say their range is probably like 3 to 5.
Okay.
In the East.
Yep. Okay. So, listen, I love the Hawks. So, I have them. I have Cavs, Knicks. Then I have Magic, Hawks, and then I have the Pistons, the Bucks right there. So I had them 5th. I think O2 had them 4 or 5, something like that. Okay. So that gives us a good starting point. Let's go to the West then. I have the Thunder number 1 in a tier by their own. You guys agree, disagree? Or where do you guys have them? Who do you have 1?
I made my first. Now this is just regular season standing.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're not title contenders. This is regular season ranking, standings, finishes, whatever. Sure.
I put Houston, OKC, and Denver all in my first tier because I can easily imagine the scenario where any one of those 3 teams was the number 1 seed going in the playoffs.
Okay.
I would favor OKC right now, but it would not shock me if Houston was the number 1 seed. It would not shock me if Denver was the number 1 seed. So in terms of the regular season, I think all those teams are pretty much equal to me.
Okay. Who's number 1 though? OKC?
I would pick OKC right now. Yeah.
Okay. Schleck?
I think it's crazy to think that the Thunder aren't going to be the number 1 seed. I think that's insane.
Oh, go at it. Andrew versus Alex.
They won 68 games last year, and they missed Chet for like a huge chunk of it. I
know. But stuff like never works out that easily. Like every team has something that they look to last season. They're like, and we didn't even have blank for blank. So
we didn't have Jaden Ivey for 50 games, Schlecht. We would have won.
Every team does that, and
I
it never
agree.
works out the way you think it should work out. Like they could be a better team and win like 62 games.
I'm not saying they're going to win more than 68. That's not what I'm saying. I just think it's a huge jump for Houston to go from 52 to like the 64, 65 games that they would need to win. That's what I'm saying. And Denver, I don't know. Like, does Denver have the capacity to win 65 games in a season? Like, I just don't know that they're that kind of regular season team.
I mean, they've won 63 before, so it's not like they haven't done it. They've been a 60-win team before.
Sure. I just think like the Thunder are. It really just depends on Shea and J-Dub's health. If those guys are healthy, this team has proven.
I apologize. The Nuggets actually haven't done that.
I was like, I don't even remember that. I don't even remember them winning that many. I think if Shea and J-Dub have similar health next season as they did last season, I just think with those two and whatever cast of characters you put around them that's on this roster, they're just going to win games. I think they are going to win 65-plus games again. And I just think that they're going to run away with the West again. Now, I'm not saying that Houston's not going to have a great regular season. I think Denver will too. That's my 2 and 3. But I just think that OKC, as long as those two are healthy, that they are just primed to just be a buzzsaw again. Because the thing about the Thunder is that they're just going to be better based on age alone. Like, they will just be a better basketball team. And now they have, they figured out a lot last season. They're going to have more to figure out with some of their young guys. But I just think that they're a really special team.
Okay,
and
so
I think that they're going to do that.
I'll have OKC 1. West will figure averages as we go, and then we'll kind of. So I actually have a tier break here. I have OKC in a tier of their own, and then I have the 2 teams you mentioned and another team in another tier that I'm insanely too high on, but I don't care. So at number 2, I have Denver. Al, who is your number 2?
I hadn't thought about it actually. I mean, it's either Houston or Denver.
Correct. Yep. I'll make my pitch on Denver while you think about it. I think the reason I go Denver over Houston is obviously Jokic, but they did add real depth to this team now. Tim Hardaway Jr. on a minimum, Bruce Brown. Everybody here knows I'm a huge Deron Holmes II fan, and he looked really good at Summer League. He looked like I guess it'll be his rookie year, a guy that's going to be able to contribute. I think they're going to have the depth to win regular season games And so I feel pretty good. I'm fine if someone has Houston 2, Denver 3, like whatever. I'm not going to like argue. But I always, if I'm like up in the air, I default Nikola Jokic in a situation like that. So I went Denver 2 because they've added a little bit more depth along with having the star power there.
Your argument is kind of my argument for Houston.
Okay.
I think that they have so much quality depth for the regular season that if like one guy goes down, I don't think it's going to matter all that much for them. Because you look at like the guards, Amin Thompson, Reed Shepherd, Fred VanVleet, Aaron Holiday, who I think is probably a little bit underrated. That guy can play regular season minutes.
I like Aaron Holiday a lot. Yep.
And then they signed Josh Okogie. It's like is he ever going to play? Like, I don't know. And then you look at the forwards. It's KD, Tari Issa, and Jabari, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jayshawn Tate is still on that team. Jeff Green is still on that team. And then you have the three centers in Şengün, Steven Adams, and Clint Capella. Like they just have so much depth. Like they are built to win regular season games. Like if they're missing one or two guys, they're going to just. I think that they're still going to be just fine.
And Amin gives him a lot of versatility, right? Like if you do miss a couple wings, then he can play quote unquote more minutes at the wing or forward. If one of the guards is out, he can go play more minutes there. Okay, so Schlecht has Houston 2, Denver 3. I think we can just like kind of have this conversation with both. I don't want to put your rankings there for you, Andrew. But so Al, what have you decided here?
I have decided. I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets, and my thinking is that the Nuggets seasons over the last couple of years have been like they've all ended with them pushing so hard to get into the playoffs. Like 2 years ago, it was them pushing to try to get that number 1 seed. Then they lose to Wemby in one of those final games, and they fall out of the 1 seed, allowing OKC to be the 1 seed. Last year, it felt like they were pushing. And I get that part of that is that they just didn't have a lot of depth, and they felt like they had to do that. But now that they have the depth, I almost see Houston as being the team more likely to push as hard as they can at the end to get the highest seed possible. Whereas Denver knows who they are. They know that they just have to get in the playoffs with a decent seed, and they're going to be fine because they're not going to be scared of anyone, as we saw against the 68-win Oklahoma City Thunder. So I just see Houston as, because they're more of that young team, they haven't proven anything, I could see them going more all out in the regular season compared to Denver.
Love it. Okay, this is where I think it'll get interesting. I have the Clippers number 4 because I'm just like insanely high on this team. And especially when we're talking regular season, they're going to make me look stupid again next playoffs, just like they did this playoffs. But I do think a team that has their talent also has a little bit of depth. Like we're talking about it, it's older depth. Like all of these dudes are really old, but they have a lot of them at least. So I have the Clippers at number 4. Where are you at, Schlecht?
I have Minnesota next.
Okay, good. And Spears? Because this may determine who we go, where we kind of dive in.
Did you say that you had Clippers in their own tier?
No, I have the Clippers with Denver and Houston in my second tier.
Oh, really? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
No. So Atlanta, I've admitted this for a month now. Atlanta is the Eastern Conference team that I love their roster and I'm way too high on. The Clippers are the Western Conference team that I love their roster and I'm way too high on. Like I will readily admit it right now.
So I'm with you that I have the Clippers 4th, but for me there is a like tier break after those top 3 teams. So the Clippers for me, I was just so impressed with their season last year. The fact that they were, for people who don't listen to Slam and Jam, we do this thing before preseason.
You should. First foremost, you should listen.
We do this thing called the surprise team. And when we did it last year, the Clippers weren't even eligible. But then that report came out that Kawhi Leonard was going to be out indefinitely. And their over-under dropped to 35.5. Now, they ended up winning like 50 games or whatever. The way that team handled that early season when Kawhi was not in the lineup really gave me a lot of confidence just about them going forward. Because the reaction to anyone putting the Clippers high is going to be like, oh, Kawhi is going to get hurt. I feel like now, even more than last year, they have the infrastructure to handle that. Now, I love Norm Powell on that team, and he was a big part of that early season, them just staying afloat. But they did bring in Brad Beal. They do have John Collins. So I think there's enough depth there to manage some of these older injuries that are inevitably going to happen, whether it's Chris Paul or Brook Lopez. There's so many old guys on this team.
So many. No, it truly is. It just I think they have enough. I love Brook Lopez. Zubac was awesome last year. I'm glad you brought up Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal was insanely overpaid on the old contract. Bradley Beal was still a good NBA basketball player, and at $5 million, he's actually on a really good deal. So I like that roster. Let's go to the next one because I assume I had Minnesota 5. Andrew, you had him 4. Al, was Minnesota your 5 as well, or do you have somebody else?
Yes, I had Minnesota 4, and those two teams were in a sub tier for me.
Perfect. Oh, sub tiers. Okay, half tiers now. Okay, and Schlecht, I'll let you take the Minnesota breakdown here then.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that Anthony Edwards is a superstar, and he's still a really young player that's kind of growing every single year. He's only 24 years old. I feel like we kind of like cap these guys like way too early. Like I think he's going to come back and be a better player. I don't love letting go of Nikhil.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be impactful to them. Maybe not as much in the regular season because I think Jalen Clark and Terrence Shannon can take on some minutes, and Jaden McDaniels can even take on more of a load this season. And I think Dante DiVincenzo will start off having a better season for them. But I just think that they really have a quality roster at the top. And so I have them 4th. I think that they'll have home court advantage going into the playoffs. I don't love the playoff makeup of this team, but I think regular season they're going to win a ton of games. But a lot of their ceiling moving forward is really going to be on a guy like Rob Dillingham and like what does he become? Because they made a really big bet on him being successful, and it hasn't looked great yet. And so I'm really interested because they're really desperately needing somebody to replace Mike Conley. That's I think he can still play some, but they're going to have to start phasing out Mike Conley, and they already have to a degree. And how do they pivot, I think, is a huge question. But for this season, I think they're going to be a really good regular season team.
I will say on the Wolves, like I have them 5, but I think the floor is a little bit lower than that ranking might suggest. Like for any of these teams in the West, I was looking at the standings from last year.
Yeah.
Like the Lakers were 3rd. The Grizzlies were 8th. They were separated by 2 games. So a lot of these teams we're about to talk about, I do think it's very fluid. Like, I don't know if I really think that the Timberwolves are so much better than some of these other teams. And like I was mentioning earlier, the thing that like every fan base has whatever their thing is. Like, oh, Chet missed 50 games, so obviously we're going to win 73 games. For the Wolves, I think they just are ignoring how dysfunctional that team was for the majority of the season. And they're just looking at that last stretch in what is, for most teams, Mickey Mouse March, where nothing really matters. And then they had this run to the conference finals that I've said, like, if they didn't have that run to the conference finals the previous season with Karl-Anthony Towns, I think we'd be talking about this run the way we talk about the Dame Blazers run to the conference finals, because it was a very easy finals, and then they got dominated in the Western Conference Finals by a much better team. I think there is some downside to this. Like, if they were in the play-in, for instance, that would not shock me. Like if the Wolves are the 7th or 8th seed, because I do think all of these teams are just within a few games of each other. And that team, the Wolves, for most of last season, were a dysfunctional mess. Like, they were weird. Everyone was out on the Julius Randle trade. Everyone thought it was a terrible idea through the majority of that season. But then it turned around, and then they didn't play any centers in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. And all of a sudden, everyone's like, oh, yeah, this team's just as good as those Karl-Anthony Towns teams, which I disagree with. I think that Karl-Anthony Towns team was elite at something, which they were elite defense. There was a huge gap between the number 1 team and the number 2 team that season. Last year, that Wolves team was they were better offensively than the Karl-Anthony Towns team, but they weren't as good defensively. And I just don't know if they have like that sort of identity where I should think of them as like an upper tier Western Conference team now. So that's my feel. I still have them at 5, but I think the floor is a little bit lower than some might think.
Andrew, who do you have at 5? Who was your 5? Because you had Minnesota at 4. Who's your number 5?
I have Clippers at 5.
Okay, all right. So we flip-flopped there. So, yes, 1, we all had OKC. 2 and 3, we flip-flopped a little bit. 4 and 5, we flip-flopped a little bit. Number 6, I have the Lakers. What says you guys? Andrew?
Golden State.
Okay, Golden
A
State.
last-minute
Dang
swap.
it. Yeah, I have the Warriors at
Okay.
6 as well.
They're my next team. They're my number 7.
No.
Let's go ahead and say. So I have Lakers 6, Warriors 7. Andrew, you have Warriors 6, and who number 7?
Lakers.
Okay, and Alex, you have Warriors 6 and
Spurs.
okay, very good. Let's go. West, do we have? Yeah, Warriors are going to be here in the average. So, Al, give me your pitch on the Warriors here. This is the hardest team, right? Because we don't technically know the rest of the roster yet.
I mean, this one is super easy. It's like when Jimmy Butler and Steph were healthy, this team was dominant. They were dominant. They were so good when Jimmy Butler was on the court and Steph was on the court. Mm-hmm. And if that team somehow played, let's say, like 65 games this season, just those two guys being healthy all that time, this is going to be a really good team. It's just, I don't know if any team's outlook is more affected by injury for me than this team, because the chasm between how I feel about this team, if one of those guys gets injured, because I don't think they have the depth anymore at this point to really make up for it. If both those guys are healthy, they're awesome. If I knew they were healthy, I'd put them even higher. But because I don't, I'm hedging a little bit. I think they could, Steph might miss 20 games. Jimmy Butler might miss another 20 games. Maybe they overlap. Maybe they don't. I put them here, but I'm not like super confident about that. It's just what we saw post-trade was so encouraging. And then you didn't get to see it in the playoffs because, Steph gets injured.
Yeah. All right, we got to keep going a little bit down the rankings because Al threw the Spurs wrench in our plans here. So at number 8, I have the front court loaded Dallas Mavericks. Schlecht, who do you have at number 8 after the Lakers at 7?
Yeah, I have Dallas there as well.
And Al, does the Lakers hate continue at number 8?
No, I put the Lakers there. Dallas? You have Dallas that high?
We'll get there. Just chill. Okay, so I think that locks in the Lakers at number 7. Schlecht, why don't you give us the Lakers spiel?
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of risks being taken by the Lakers here. Like I just don't know if this is going to be like the DeAndre Ayton experiment is one of the more interesting things to me moving into the season because it could be something real. I think it could be really good for the Lakers. Sure. I think it could result in something really good because his job is so simplified in this offense, and it should be. And if he can handle that and play, defense at a decent level, like it's going to be a huge deal for the Lakers. But this also could be like JJ Redick's worst nightmare. I mean, I don't know, which one it will be, and so I have a hard time ranking them. Marcus Smart as well. Like I just don't know what he can bring at this point in his career. They need point of attack defense, and I remember JJ when he was in OKC talking about how they need multiple ball handlers on the floor. Well, I think Marcus could help them in that department as well because he can be a guy that can be a secondary ball handler. So I think they did about as well as you can do with not having many resources. They brought in several guys without giving up any assets. So I think they did a really good job. And then it's really just about Luka's health. Can Luka stay healthy throughout the season? If so, this is going to be a really good team. If he misses time, I don't know that LeBron at age 41 is going to be able to handle, quite the load that he has in the past. And then I just don't believe in the rest of the roster. But Luka solves many problems for the Lakers if he's healthy. And so that's where I have the Lakers.
At number 9, I have Alex's Spurs. So, Andrew, you had the Mavs at 8. Who do you have at 9?
I have the Grizzlies at 9.
Okay. And then, Al, who do you have at 9 after the Lakers?
I have the Grizzlies, and I would like to say this is going to be my hottest take of this entire pod. Earlier when I mentioned sub tiers,
we haven't talked about Young Hansen yet, so I beg to differ. But continue.
That's true.
That's true.
When we talked about sub tiers earlier, that is because from the Clippers to the Grizzlies, I have every one of those teams in tier 2.
Okay.
One, that is a recognition that the Western Conference is going to be decided by a couple games for a lot of these teams. And
Yeah.
two, I think people are way underrating the Grizzlies. By putting all these teams in tier 2, I am saying that it would not shock me if the Grizzlies were the 4 seed in the West. And why I'm saying that, which by the way, their over-under right now is 40.5. So like everyone's off of them. Everyone, and I guess what I would say is if they had reacted to moving on from Desmond Bane the way they did a few years ago when they lost a lot of these vets and they were like, we're just going to draft a bunch of guys in the late first because we're so smart and it's all going to work out, I would be lower on them. But they replaced him with Ty Jerome, who I think is really, really good. And I think the Ty Jerome-led bench units are going to be better than the Desmond Bane-led bench units. I think there's a chance that the Grizzlies are just as good as they were last season. And Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was miserable last season. I know that, so I'm not expecting, I don't have high hopes for KCP. But just bringing him in versus just bringing some random guy, off the street, I think that's a good idea. I just think this Memphis team has a lot more upside than people are thinking, and they're so focused on the Desmond Bane trade, which I agree is it's a big loss. But by replacing him with Ty Jerome, I just think that there's more upside there that people aren't recognizing. And those players, if you look at their statistical comparison, now Ty Jerome only played 20 minutes a game for the Cavs, whereas Desmond Bane was playing 32 minutes a game. But they are very similar statistically. Per 36, they're shooting the same number of threes per game. They're hitting the same percentage on threes. They're scoring the same amount of points. They had the same amount of assists. I really do think there's a chance that in a larger role, Ty Jerome could replicate a lot of what Desmond Bane was giving them. And so I don't think the 40.5 over-under is fair.
Okay, so here real quick, we're going to give the rest of our rankings. That way, Wes can figure the averages. When we come back from break, we'll release those, and then we'll talk about each team real quick and then slot in the Pistons. So I have the Grizzlies 10, the Blazers 11, the Suns 12, the Kings 13, the Pelicans 14, and the Jazz 15. Schlecht, you had the Grizzlies at 9. Mm-hmm. Can you take us the rest of the way?
Yeah, San Antonio 10. I have the Blazers at 11, Kings 12, Suns 13, Pelicans 14, Jazz 15.
Okay. And sorry, we're trying to keep this. Al, go ahead. So you had the Grizzlies 9. So the Mavs.
Mavericks at 10. What are they going to be good at? Portland 11, the Kings 12, Phoenix 13, Pelicans 14, Utah 15.
Okay, so Wes will average these out over the break, and then when we come back, I'll re-give the list, and you guys start thinking about where you would slot Detroit into this. All right, we are back for the final segment here. We are going to finish off the Western Conference and then do some trivia. Just a real quick refresher. So far, we have OKC 1, Houston Rockets 2, Nuggets 3. We all had them 2 or 3. Clippers 4, Wolves 5. We all had them 4 or 5. Warriors 6, Lakers 7, Mavs 8. And Wes has to do a little bit of math. So we did not talk about the Mavs yet. So what is your worry here, Al, with the Dallas Mavericks?
I just don't see what they're going to be good at. Tell me what would their identity be this season? What kind of a team are they going to be?
I mean, they are loaded up front. I think they're going to be good defensively. I think when you're
they're good defensively with a starting backcourt of D'Angelo Russell and Klay Thompson. And you're telling me they're going to be a good defensive team?
I mean, you have Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively, and that's not what they're going to start. They're going to start PJ Washington or Cooper Flagg at the 1, PJ Washington at the 2, Anthony Davis at the no, I'm joking. Listen,
they should honestly.
I'm not super high on them. I just have a hard time when you have that much talent. I think probably the difference here is you're a little bit higher on the Grizzlies than what I am. I think me having Dallas 8 is more of an indictment of little nervous how high I want to rank the Spurs yet. And I'm not super high on Memphis. I understand your point. I do think they'll be good. I think another part of this is like, do they bring Kyrie back or not? Like, or like, does Kyrie come back and play during the season or not? But I think Cooper Flag is really good. How many games does AD play as well? Here's another thing.
Yeah, that's a huge.
I cannot imagine they don't make a rebalance the roster trade. And like, that's not part of this exercise, but if they don't trade PJ Washington or if they don't trade Daniel Gafford for a guard, I think that's a huge mistake. And I guess I'm thinking at some point that happens as well. So,
yeah, that's true. And I do think a few of those guys could bring back like a good guard. And if that's the case, then yeah, that would change my opinion. Because right now, I do think they have a lot of talent, but I think it's a horrible roster construction.
Sure.
I don't think the roster construction makes sense at all.
Yep.
Especially compared to a team like Memphis, where I've seen those guys do it before.
Yep.
And so you're asking me to like buy into AD, who I looked it up. He's played more than 51 games once in the last 5 seasons. So like on average, he's missing like 30 to 40 games per season outside of that 1 year. And I just can't buy into that right now. And you're asking so much of Cooper Flag. Now maybe he is this generational, comes in as a rookie and just dominates. But I think if you're taking the high end outlook on the Mavs, you're totally buying into Cooper Flag being like borderline all-star level game 1.
Sure. Yeah. I guess at 8, I didn't feel like that was a super high end outcome for him. But it is a competitive Western Conference. So we had the Mavs at 8, the Grizzlies at 9. You already made that pitch. I know you had the Spurs the highest, but I want to go to Schlecht for the Spurs still. You had the Spurs right at this spot at number 10. What are your thoughts on the Spurs, Andrew?
Yeah, they're just really young still. I just think that they're going to be a ways away from being like truly competitive. I think that they're going to take a step forward, but I think that the amount that you have to invest in a guy like Stephon Castle, improving, that's huge. Dylan Harper, like it's going to be huge for them to implement him into this team. And I just think that alongside guys like Jeremy Sohan, who I actually like, and Carter Bryant, who I like, there's not great shooting on this roster around Wemby. And now Wemby may be able to overcome all of that. But I do like some of the roster construction here. I'm just curious. There's just a lot to work out with the guard rotation. Like De'Aaron Fox is clearly at the top of that. But how do you mix in possessions and running the offense with Dylan Harper and with Steph Castle? What does that look like? I don't know the answer to that. I just think they're a young team for the most part, and young teams lose games. And that's just kind of how it goes.
So real quick, redoing the averages, Spurs actually ended up 8th, Grizzlies 9th, Mavs 10th. The Blazers ended up 11. I believe all 3 of us, had the Blazers at 11. Al, this is your team. Why will Young Hansen lead them into the playoffs?
You know what? Sorry, this is slightly off track, but I was on the Utah Jazz subreddit today, and they were super pissed about this big man ranking where Walker Kessler was like the 35th big man. Okay, so I went to look at it just to see who was above him, and Young Hansen was 25. So I don't think I'm the highest on Young Hansen.
That's amazing. What is this on? What is it? What ranking is this?
Do you really want me to tell you?
No, put it in the chat. I don't.
Yeah, put it in the private chat,
it's
please.
The Athletic. Okay, so
is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
That rocks. That's amazing. Shout out to all of my colleagues.
The problem with Portland is that they've gotten rid of really the only guy who was consistently giving them offense other than Denny Avdia, which was Anthony Simons, and for all of his faults, like he put the ball in the bucket, which is very hard for a lot of these other guys on the Blazers. So I have a feeling we're going to see a season where they are very good defensively, and it is clear that, like, wow, this team has a defensive identity. They have really putting something together, but they will have, like, an anemic offense. Like, really, like, we're talking Orlando Magic, classic Orlando Magic era. That sort of a team. And I think that Orlando Magic team, like, of the past few years, like, that team can fight for, like, a play-in spot in the East. But in the West, I think this makes sense for that sort of a team.
Okay, so Blazers were 11, Kings 12, Suns 13, Pelicans 14, Jazz 15. Any thoughts you guys want to get off on any of those guys before I ask you where you would slot Detroit into this list?
I hate the Kings. I hate them so much. Check this out. Zach LaVine on-off numbers. PBP stats, which doesn't factor or which does include garbage time. They were a minus 3.8, okay, when Zach LaVine was on court. Cleaning the glass, which takes away garbage time. The Kings were a minus 10 when Zach LaVine was on the court. So if they weren't getting blown out, they were just in a close game. They were terrible when Zach LaVine was on the court. I hate how this team has been unable to put Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis in positions to succeed. And they're doing it again by bringing in Dennis Schroeder. How is Keon Ellis going to get any consistent minutes? And then this idea that they are trying to move Malik Monk so that they can bring in Russell Westbrook. I get that Malik Monk had a down season for him, but I looked it up on PBP stats. You can do combinations of players. So I did Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. With those three guys, there's 8 possible combinations. So it's all 3 on, all 3 off, 2 on, 1 off, that kind of stuff. Of those 8 situations, the only 3 that had a positive net rating were Monk plus LaVine, no DeRozan, Monk plus DeRozan, no LaVine, and all 3 of them off the court. Every other variation of that was a negative. I don't think the problem was Malik Monk. I think he's on a really poorly constructed roster, and if a team is able to bring him in on a discount because he had a down season last year, I think it will be a good idea. And meanwhile, bringing in Russell Westbrook would be, to be the cherry on top of this King's cake.
Yes,
well,
Andrew.
The Westbrook Sabonis connection worked so well the first time that you just have to try it again.
Hey, stick Sabonis back in the corner where he belongs.
Listen, throw him back in the corner. Russ will forget what his name is and call him Damos again, and then all will be well in the world.
Andrew, any of these teams you have any strong thoughts you want to get off your chest before we move on?
No, the Pelicans are going to stink. It's another. It's very Kings-like, I would say, in that what happened? You look at both rosters 3 years ago, and you would say, I love the direction they're going. All of this makes sense. This is really good. The draft selections are good. These players are good. I really like the coaches. And then you wake up 3 years later, and you're like, wait, what happened? What happened to these teams? What happened to these rosters?
I remember last season, as it's going poorly, it's clearly a snake-bitten season. Everyone's getting hurt. People were still talking well, this team won 49 games a year ago. This might be good for them. They might be able to just have this season where they take a year off, they get a high pick, they'll get someone good, and they'll be right back there. And now, how that opinion has evaporated. No one's saying that anymore. No one's saying, "Oh, this team is still pretty close to that team that won 49 games." And I went and looked at the top 9 guys in minutes played on that team that won 49 games, lost to OKC in the first round. Only 3 are left. They've replaced C.J. McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, Dyson Daniels, Najee Marshall, Larry Nance Jr., with Jordan Poole, Yves Missy, Sadiq Bey, Derek Queen, Jeremiah Fears, and Kevon Looney. Just a massive downgrade in overall talent on that roster. They're such different teams. And the idea that they're going to be anything better than maybe 13th in this conference, I just don't see it.
Yeah.
We do not accept Sadiq Bey slander on this podcast either. But.
Hey, I ranked him. I put him higher in that list.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, let's do. Okay, I have to. Pistons fans know this, but the draft was just hilarious to me because it was like the Troy Weaver playbook, and I don't want to call it the Hoop Collective said that it was the Jalen Duren draft, but it wasn't. It was the Isaiah Stewart draft is the draft pick that got conveyed this year. Actually, it was that one where, both he drafted guards and then traded up for a big, but the Stewart draft was the first one where he drafted a guard, Killian Hayes, and then he traded into the first round. At least that draft pick was protected and didn't convey until 5 years later. But it's such the playbook. Okay, let's go through the list.
Can I ask you real quick?
Yeah.
What is that experience like? Because, you guys I mean, you were in the gutter with Troy Weaver for a half decade, and now seeing that he has gotten another like lead decision making job in this league, like what is that experience like? Like, do you feel like you're going crazy? Like, did no one watch what happened in Detroit?
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting because I will say this, like some of these draft picks may pan out, right? Like so, but it was the roster construction around them that just never made sense. Here's my problem with it. I came in Troy's first year. I wasn't podcasting. I wasn't following the NBA religiously the way I do now. And so, like, that was the first thing I experienced. I didn't have anything to compare it to, guys. So this year was such an eye opener for me of like, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. Like, this is what, that's why, like, whenever the Wizards trade away whenever a rebuilding team trades away every veteran and all floor spacing, I lose my mind because I watched it play out. You're not going to win games when you play those young guys anyway. It'll be okay. Trust me, you're going to lose plenty of games. The worst, like my favorite thing to say, the worst thing you can do as a rebuilding team is not find out about your young players. And in Detroit, we spent almost 4 years not finding out about the young players because the roster was so bad.
Was there a point during that first season, because like you chose to follow this team, where you were like, I've made a huge mistake?
No, I was just having so much fun. Like I literally, Here's the thing is I actually think it makes it easier for me because like Pistons fans are losing their minds and rightfully so. But like I have
history behind it.
Yeah, but I have no emotional attachment to the podcast I do. Like I love the Pistons. I love the fan base. I love all of that. The only team that can make me ruin my night is the Kansas City Chiefs. Detroit, like it. Honestly, the podcast was thriving when they sucked. So I was like, okay, keep losing because apparently people want to come listen. So, okay. Let me go through this real quick here. And you guys stop me when we even are getting close. So to ranking where you would have Detroit. OKC, number 1. No. Houston, number 2. Denver, number 3. Clippers, number 4. Timberwolves, number 5. Warriors number 6.
We're getting
Lakers,
warm. I'm thinking about it right now.
Yeah, I'm getting warm.
Lakers number 7. Okay, so we should stop here. Play-in range for Detroit. Andrew, give me the quick spiel because I do want to get to the trivia and then let you guys have your Sunday. So give me the quick spiel on why this Warriors, Lakers, Spurs, Grizzlies, Mavs range.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is I think that Cade Cunningham is a really good player that's going to continue to get better. And I think that we're looking at some really well-established teams in the Western Conference, like the Lakers and Warriors and Clippers. Those are really, really good teams. I would probably put them in that mix with those teams. I don't know that we've seen quite enough from them to put them near Minnesota, but I think they're on the right track. I just kind of need to see more. And some of it will depend on like what does Jaden Ivey look like.
Yeah.
If Jaden Ivey can play, they may be as good as Minnesota this year. I don't think that's out of the question because I do think that Cade is one of the best lead guards in the NBA. And so it's really going to come down to what do these other young guys do? Because I think they have a decent enough supporting cast, but it's about the growth of the other young guys around him. It was similar to like what happened with the Thunder. Shea took them to a level. And then it was J-Dub and Chet rising around him that vaulted them into that top level of the Western Conference. And now, to me, it's kind of a similar thing with Detroit. I think that Detroit could surprise a lot of teams this year. I think they could be one of the best teams in the East as long as Cade has somebody else rising with him. And so I think it's probably a big ask for guys like Asar, who would be one of the guys I would believe in most on this roster. But I do think it's possible, but that's where I just need to see a little bit more.
Al?
Yeah, I feel similarly. I know that Jaden Ivey, like, how is he going to reintegrate? What's that going to look like? Is a big question. But my questions for some of these other teams that would theoretically be around them in the Western Conference are so much bigger. Like, where I don't feel like I have a good foundation with those teams. Like Golden State, how I was talking about, like, injuries is just such a huge part of that conversation. With the Lakers, this LeBron question, how that's going to hang over the entire season. these feel like such bigger questions than like, oh, is this exciting young player going to be, fit in? Like, we already saw that they were good without him, so it's just like, oh, can he be additive? Like, let's see what happens. So I guess that's why I was willing to rank them this highly in the West. It's just I feel a little bit more confident in what the outcome is going to be, even if I don't think their ceiling is quite as high as what some of these teams could be.
Love it. All right. Over on Saturday Slam and Jam, you guys play a game called Andrew versus the Beat. On the Pistons Pulse, we play a game called, believe it or not, Andrew versus Alex, with Bryce asking trivia questions to get back at you for making him look stupid on your podcast. Literally every week we play this game, if you guys believe it or not. So I will not be asking about players before 2008. These are all players that have played for both franchises, okay? So these are players that have played for the Thunder and the Detroit Pistons, okay? Same rules as your guys' game, 1 through 8. I actually stole all of your guys' like question format stuff, all of that. So, Andrew, you live closer to me. You go first.
Oh, that's BS. Rig.
Number one.
Number 1, Jeremy Grant played for both teams. Okay. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Let me come back. Okay, here we go. Forget Jeremy Grant. Who played the most combined games, between the two teams? For both teams.
Between 08 and
today? I didn't count anybody before 08. So the player that from 08 to 2025 played the most combined games between the two organizations.
Oh my gosh. Would this be Reggie Jackson?
This would be Reggie Jackson. What would be your guess on the number of games?
Oh man. He like 450.
Good guess. Al, there's no points involved here, just out of curiosity. How
I
close
was
you
going to say
get.
500.
Yeah, 544 games between the two teams. He played 245 with OKC between 2012 and 2015, and played 299 between 2015 and 2020 with the Pistons. So,
Are you sad you didn't get to experience that?
Doesn't sound like I should be, but I don't know. Listen, Al, I lived through the Killian Hayes years, so I did plenty. All right, that was question number 1. God's honest truth, Jeremy Grant was the answer to question number 1. I screwed that one up so bad. So I used the tiebreaker question, so no ties. All right, Al, 2 through 7. I didn't make the little board like you have. 2 through 7.
Number 6.
2 through 8. What the hell? Number 6. All right. Justin Robinson played the least combined games between the two teams, 14. Where did Justin Robinson play college basketball?
Virginia?
Really close. Andrew?
Oh, really close. Did he play at Virginia Tech?
Virginia Tech. I don't think I should... I don't think I can give you a point.
Oh, come on!
Damn it. That's why you were pausing.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say something else. Alex, I want you to win. I'm trying to help you.
No, I deserve that. I mean, that has happened so many times on Slam and Jam. And so,
obviously, this has started out so well. We obviously play this game every single week, right? Like I'm a pro at running the game. All right, so we have used questions 1 and 6. So don't choose either one of those, Andrew.
2.
Thank you. You're making it easy on me. You guys do it this way over there. We are going to go back and forth naming teams that legend Ish Smith has played on throughout his NBA career. Alex, help me out here. Just whoever is the last man standing gets the point? Or do you give a point for every correct team?
I'll be honest. I change it week to week.
Okay,
no,
how do you want to...
It's usually whoever
It's last man
stumbles
standing,
first.
usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Andrew, you start us off. And let me see. Yeah, I had any team he's played on.
Oklahoma City.
There we go. The Thunder. Yep.
The Hornets.
Hornets is correct.
Detroit.
Yeah. Al, you literally got mad at Schlecht for not answering one of these where you had answered the question earlier.
I listened. I'll always go for the low-hanging fruit now after he got so mad at me.
I was screaming at you, Andrew. I'm like working out in the garage, listening to Slam and Jam. Like, Andrew, he already told you one of the answers. And you could tell Alex was pissed that you weren't saying it.
Yeah, I almost said Detroit, and for some reason my brain just was like, what if it's not? Even though that is the whole point of the game.
That is the theme, though. Okay.
Okay, the Nets?
The Nets are not on this list.
God.
Wow, Al.
Andrew, do you have any other answers?
Washington. The Wiz.
The Wiz are... Can you keep going?
I think he played for Milwaukee.
The Bucks are on this list.
Man.
I think he played for Philly.
The 76ers are on this list.
Should have gotten that one.
I think he played for Houston.
Rockets are on this list.
Orlando.
Magic are on this list. Now you just have to keep going because there's only a few teams, like a handful of teams left.
Oh man! You guys know that he loves Everybody Loves Raymond, the show.
Did not know that.
Fred Katz and I did an interview with him when he was with the Wizards, and I talked to him about Everybody Loves Raymond for like 10 minutes.
Interesting.
Back on a show called Wizards After Dark. That's me stalling. I don't know that I have any others. Denver? I think you played for Denver.
Nuggets are, yep.
I think that's about all I got.
Grizzlies, Warriors, Suns, Pelicans.
Okay.
So.
Oh, Pelicans, I remember. Yeah.
Okay, so Andrew is up 3-0. One of those points is my fault because I gave Andrew the hint that you were close. So 1, 2, and 6 off the board, Al.
3.
3. Your all-time favorite. Which of these is not an official B-ball reference nickname for Markieff Morris?
Look at Al. He's so stressed out. I love this. This is just glorious.
Keith, Slick, Smooth, Snoop Dogg.
Slick.
That is correct, Al. That was quick,
Wow.
too.
Yeah. I know.
For what it's I use ChatGPT to give me the fake name on that one. I typed in all the other nicknames. It's like, hey, give me one that sounds like these. So okay.
Slick.
4, 5, 7, or 8, Andrew.
4.
4. Svi Mikhailuk has a season of 115 3-pointers made, the most in his career, and 105, which he shared between Detroit and Oklahoma City. But how many 3-point makes total in his college career? So,
oh, man.
Here's how we're going to do this. Andrew, you can choose to either guess the number or guess the over-under. You guys know the rules of this one. I always screw this one up. That's why I lost the last time I was over there. So what would you like to do? Guess the number or make Al guess the number and you guess the over-under?
I'll make Al guess the number.
Okay, Al, you get to set.
Caveat that I'm just now learning that Svi Mikhailuk went to college.
Oh, really? Jayhawk.
Andrew, I was saying Kansas Jayhawk.
Was he at Kansas? Okay.
Yeah,
he was.
Well, I'm guessing by the way you worded it that it's a pretty low number, that it was a surprise that he came to the NBA and hit a lot of threes. That's what I'm guessing. So I'm going to guess, and he probably played it a long time at Kansas, I would assume. So I'll say 22.
Okay.
Higher.
It is. It is higher.
Much higher, I think.
Well, then why would you ask the question? What's the point of
Way
the question?
higher. I think like hundreds more.
He hit 237.
Why would you ask the question if he was already a good 3-point shooter? What's the point of the question?
to make you mad, I guess.
It does make me mad. You're supposed to do opposites.
Oh, again, this is what we do this every week.
Yeah,
this is
I mean, this is reverse psychology. I don't use this a lot on Slam and Jam, but I should because it does mess with you. Because like if I gave that question on the show,
it would have been like 12.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah. It's usually.
That's what Wes does as well when we play the actual trivia game we play here called Sheet or Sham. Sheet or Sham. That's the name. Okay, it is 4-1. Al, I think you still have a chance.
I should have gotten 2 points.
For
that
what?
Was my question, the nickname question. Or are you just doing single points?
I'm just doing single points.
Oh, okay. Another flaw in the game.
Okay, rest of the points are worth 2. 5, 7, or 8, Al.
Question 5.
Okay, you have to answer all 3 of these correct to get the 2 points. Okay? Or do you want 3 points?
Yeah.
You know what? It's all or nothing. If you answer all 3 of them correctly, I'll give you 3 points. Okay?
Okay.
Ooh.
This is about legend Hamidou Diallo. Okay? Who did he play more games with, the Pistons or the Thunder? You don't even have to tell me the number, just the team.
It should be the Thunder. It's the Pistons.
It is not. It is the Pistons.
I thought he was only there for 1 season, 1.5 seasons.
Let me double check. 134 for Detroit. Oh, he's right there. 129 for the Thunder.
Wow, so it's pretty close.
Yeah, they were all.
Oh wow, he was in Detroit way longer than I thought.
So the other questions were more points per game, Detroit or Oklahoma City.
That has to be Detroit.
Detroit, and more win shares. I thought this was the one that would really stump you.
Well, based on how it's gone so far, I'm guessing it's OKC.
It was actually the Pistons. That's why I thought that would be the toughest one.
Okay.
Yeah, all 3 were Detroit. Isn't that like that's how you do it, right? Like that's tricky, right? Because
I didn't realize he had 2 full seasons in Detroit, and then the half season.
I liked Hamidou.
Yeah, we did too.
Okay.
It was very funny because that last season when he got traded, the Thunder fans like unanimously were like, he's turned the corner. Like, if you get this Hamidou Diallo going forward, this could be part of the core. And they immediately traded him. Just funny for a second, I think.
All right, we have questions 7 or 8. Nope, that's not. Yeah, 7 or 8.
7.
Okay. 3 former Thunder players played on the Pistons 23-24 roster. Can you name 2 of them? And if you name all 3, I'll give you an extra point.
23-24.
Okay, so that.
This is a bad team.
Here, real quick. YouTube user Bryce is totally messing up the game, not letting Andrew steal that question. Wrong. I purposely didn't let him steal the question so that way he can't build a bigger lead and maybe it can come down to the final question. I'm trying to help my guy Al out because he's mad at me right now.
I should have started with the Reggie Jackson question because I did know that one. I should have taken your hint to say Virginia Tech.
That was my
bad.
bad.
Reggie. This is not Bryce's fault.
The first question was supposed to be name the player that has the most win shares for the Thunder that has played for both teams, and it was Jeremy Grant, who I said his name before I ever read the question like an idiot. Okay, 23-24. Yes, the Detroit Pistons were some might say historically bad that year. Mm-hmm. But they had 3 former Thunder players on that team.
I think Moose played for Detroit.
That's one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't have any other I don't have any other names.
Okay, Al, you can steal. I'm playing it right. No, you know this. Think big.
I know this?
Yeah.
Okay, this was the really bad season. Played a lot of players. They didn't play Poku.
Definitely not Poku.
Good. Definitely not Poku.
I also don't think they played Teo Maladon. They could have brought him in as well.
Also good.
Also good.
Wes said you said Moose, and he thought Greg Monroe whenever you said Moose. Not Muscala.
Oh, no.
Not Patriot League legend Mike Muscala.
No. The
Man,
Suns assistant coach.
I do not know. It was Svi. Did Svi play any minutes on that team?
That was not. It was Danilo Gallinari and Nerlens Noel.
Oh,
I've
wow.
never gotten either of those.
Oh,
I
really?
kind of remember Gallo. I do not remember Nerlens being on that team.
I actually
at
don't
all.
remember.
Nerlens,
Gallo
like,
for them.
so here's the second part of the question. How many total, or this is question 8. You don't get to choose. This is the last question.
Yeah.
Chance to get back. Worth 3 points. No, we can't tie. Worth 4 points. How many total tiebreaker questions gone? How many total games? How many total games did those 3 play for Detroit that year? Al, you can
Okay.
either guess the number or make Andrew guess the number, and then you pick over under.
I'll make Andrew guess. I have a pretty good idea.
Okay, Andrew, you have to guess. How many total games did Muscala, Gallinari, and Noel play for the 23-24 Detroit Pistons?
Oh, boy. 27.
27.
Under, way under, way under.
So Al is correct, which means Al wins the game. It's actually not way under. It was actually really close. It was 23. 23.
Okay, will you tell me how many each guy played?
I can do that.
Thank you.
Muscala. Wait, hold up. 13. Did I do bad math? Oh, shh.
Oh no! What if I lose because of this?
What did I do wrong here? Hold up.
Okay, can I say one of the things you did wrong?
Yeah.
Nerlens Noel did not play on that team.
On the 23-24?
No, he's not.
He was on the
basketball reference page.
22-23?
I don't remember him ever.
No, listen, I know Nerlens Noel was on the team because I know he was on the team because I literally saw him at a game.
Did he
Maybe
play,
never
though?
Played.
He
that
may
what it
not
is?
have ever played.
Hold
Let me
up.
see.
I'm looking now, too.
What did I do?
Let's do an hour of this.
He's not on Basketball Reference.
He's not
No,
even on basketball.
no,
He
no, no,
wasn't
no,
even
no,
in
no,
the
no, no.
NBA.
No. It was I combined years.
Oh, he
Oh,
played
there
for
is
the
a guy that played for the Thunder on that team, though.
Is
So it was 22-23 for Noel, and then 23-24 for the other two.
Oh yeah, Taj Gibson.
Taj, yeah. And an almost Thunder in Alec Burks.
And did Buddy Boeheim, was he ever on the summer?
Buddy Boeheim was on.
Yeah.
He was an E10 guy. Yeah,
There we go.
played on the G League team. Played on the Blue.
Yep. Oh man.
So what does that
up
mean?
Bad.
Where are we? What does this mean now?
I don't know. I was so excited for this one. How did I mess that one up?
No, I mess one up every week. Every week, one of the contestants says a name, and I'm like, man, that sounds right.
That sounds yeah.
Man, that sounds like a good answer.
The annoying thing is I didn't even do my math right. Like it's not the math wasn't even right. Wow.
Well, here's the good news, Bryce. I feel like you got out of this what you were going into it wanting to get out of it.
No, I did get that.
That's
you
true.
You have destroyed me. You have the Emperor has no clothes. I am not a trivia master.
The problem is I embarrassed myself trying to do it at the same time, and so I didn't fully. So on the page where you can just like see players who played for both teams,
Oh yeah.
it says 2023 for Noel, 2024 for Muscala and Gallinari. So I guess I thought it was just like Noel had played in 2023, because I knew he didn't play games that year. So yeah, YouTube user says, Bryce, I'm not sure your evil plan worked quite as well as you'd hoped. This is why I don't do trivia.
Oh man, I'm looking at some of the other names. Chris Wilcox. We remember.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
the list of names is really,
Damian
really
Wilkins.
interesting.
Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
Look at all these names. I don't know
Yeah.
why I said it like that. He just played for them.
Look at all these names.
Wendy Waters. Nazi Muhammad,
Lindy
Kyle
also just played.
Singler, DJ. Wow, there's a lot. DJ Augustine. These are some classic.
There's a lot of
Thunder
crossover.
names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was close. I gave it a try.
Hey, Bryce, do you think any of your Utah Jazz listeners are going to be bummed that we didn't spend any time on the Jazz?
I think everybody's going to be okay.
I just don't want to see you on the Jazz subreddit. Bryce on Pistons Pulse didn't give us any time.
I was listening to Pistons Pulse, and they didn't even talk about the Jazz.
Here's a spoiler. We have Walker Kessler rated higher on our defensive rankings than The Athletic has him ranked in terms of centers in the league. So I think they'll come back
You
to
mean
my
like
side.
overall?
Huh?
Like the whole league or like within centers?
Overall defenders.
Wow. Okay.
So, also, I was going to make a joke and ask you Young Hanson's birthday date and time as your first question, and I forgot to do that too.
Oh, man. That would be sick if I hadn't known that.
Yeah, that would be.
That'd be
Me and
so cool.
the inside joke here is Al and I watched Young Hanson's
First game.
Was it his debut? Yeah.
And we had a blast.
We did have a blast. I was supposed to be recording with Andrew, but I told him I couldn't because Sam was supposed to be taking game theory to supper. And of course, he was 2 hours late because he was watching Reed Shepherd in the other gym. So I was like,
Bryce had to just he just had to see the future of the NBA.
Right.
How empty would the gym have been, Al, if Young Hansen would not have been playing in that game?
I mean, I would not have been there.
There's no chance.
Nobody would have been there. So, okay. Andrew, whoever pitches everything you guys do, let the listeners know where they can find you. Andrew, go ahead.
Listen to Down to Dunk. You can hear Alex and I every Wednesday on that show. You can also listen to the Athletic NBA Dailies feed where the Slam and Jam is right now. It's every other week. We are back this week for Slam and Jam, so tune in. Go subscribe to the Athletic.
Al, anything to add?
Oh, to that? No. But I will say, Down to Dunk last Friday, a show I wasn't on.
Yeah.
They did saying players' names backwards, where you like say the name, it plays it for you backwards, and you try to say that version of it, and then you can reverse it. It was a very fun episode, I must say, for a show I was not on.
I can show you real quick.
Yeah.
And I really want every podcast to start doing it because I would listen to any podcast that did this.
So it's an app where
Okay.
you can record something. So I'll do the easiest one. LeBron James. And then you play it in reverse. Oh, hold on. I got to turn it up. Smash normal. And so now I have to memorize it and then record it and then see how close it is. Smash normal. And now I'm going to play it in reverse to see if it says LeBron James. LeBron James. And that's the game. And that's the game. And you can listen to 20 to 25 minutes of that on Down to Dunk if you listen to Friday's episode that's titled Saying Thunder Names Backwards.
Who had Alexei Pokushevsky?
We need to do Poku. We'll do another round. It'll still be August next Friday, so we'll have to do another round.
There you go. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. I knew this was going to be a lot of fun. Sorry, everybody, I messed up trivia. I was so excited. You guys have no idea. I'm so disappointed right now. Thanks to Wes. O2 will be back next week. He's off vacation, finally. Much deserved, but we'll be excited to have him back. Hopefully you enjoyed the content the last couple of weeks. Special shout out to, again, Wes, triathlete, our audio producer, Robin Chan, editor-in-chief, Nicole Avery Nichols, and executive producer, Bill Bradley.